Welcome to Crypt of Fright. I'm Luna, your guide through the shadows where horror films, TV, comics, and video games all come out to play. Every week, we dig into the stories that shape the genre. The monsters who haunt it, and the creators who keep horror alive. Welcome to the Crypt. Hello, everybody. Greetings. I'm joined today by Colin and Chris, my good friends from the Horrific podcast. And as we explore Guillermo del Toro's filmography, we're going to be doing a review of his horror films throughout the next couple of weeks, maybe months, depending on how long it takes us. So, in a world obsessed with eternal youth, we often forget what we might lose to get it. Today, we're going to be stepping into the crypt by talking about the mechanical horror that defined Guillermo del Toro's career. How are you both doing this evening?
Grand. Good morning to you.
Yes.
I love the intro, Luna. The intro to your channel is awesome. Very cool.
Oh, really? Oh my
Yeah,
God! Thank
really cool.
you. I had a good friend of mine. I didn't have my voice on it at first. It was just the video, and I think he works for radio and he's like, you know what would be nice? A voiceover of yourself. He's like, just come up with a cool script, and I was like, okay. So he helped me a little bit with that. So a little bit help from people here and there, and I've been getting this pretty polished, and I like it.
Promotion is horrible, isn't it? Having to do promo stuff. It's like, I just
Yeah,
want to do the thing. Can somebody else do the promo? That's hard. That's like,
it
Yeah.
can be, but when you have good people in your corner, it never seems to just amaze me how much people can help you with, because there's so many people that are so good at making graphics, making music. Like my intro song was all made by a friend. I got a little bit of help from my good buddy that I said that his name is KF. He helped me with my scripting and my intro. So with a little bit of help from people, you kind of get things worked out, and it's so nice to have good people on your side, that are willing to say, hey, you know what, fit good right here, this.
yeah, because it's this internet stuff, streaming and being on YouTube. It's like screaming into the void. If you're on your own, yeah, you need good people around you, or else you just get caught up in the algorithm and everything else and just feel hopeless. So, yeah, no, hearing that.
Definitely. We have my good buddy Super Ninja Chicken. We got, of course, Raven Wish in the house. Thank you guys so much for coming out. So as we get started, Cronos was released in 1992. So this film is as old as I am. I was also born in 1992. So it is 34 years old.
I wasn't finishing school then.
You were done with school by then, huh?
God.
I know. I was like looking at all his filmography, and I'm like, and I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, this movie was being made probably at the time I was being made too.
Hopefully not the same exact time, because that would be weird.
You can pick the scene, right? You're God. No. Nobody needs that thought in their head.
Well, think about it. It takes more than 9 months to film a movie,
Mhm.
right? And it takes 9 months for a kid to be made in
Yep.
vitro. So it's probably around the same time that I was cooking. So interesting thought. Interesting thought. But yeah, what did you guys think? Any first thoughts?
I was like, he's making a comedy. I don't know whether it was intentional. but it definitely got comedic vibes. I don't know whether it's because of Roland Perlman and the other guy that plays Dieter.
Mhm.
I couldn't take those two characters seriously.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
It's like there's a whole set, there's a movie, and then you got these two characters just sort of dropped in there, just absolute chaos.
It did seem out of place. Yeah. So I'm kind of a novice with Guillermo del Toro's filmography. I had only seen the one other movie. I'm blanking on the name of it. The one,
The
Pan's
Devil's,
Labyrinth.
not Pan's Labyrinth, the one with
Devil's
the
Backbone.
Mexican War. Yeah, with the boy, the ghost boy, and the missile dropped.
Yeah, the Devil's Backbone.
Oh yeah, the Devil's
Yeah.
Backbone.
Devil's
Yeah.
Backbone. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I guess I was kind of expecting something along those lines, which is unfair to pigeonhole any director. Like you have to be this type of director. So the comedy was a little bit, took kind of threw me off. I wasn't expecting it. I really expected a vibe similar to Devil's Backbone. Having said that, though, it was really, I really enjoyed it. I feel like this is the way to do a vampire story. Like it felt somehow realistic. It had like a great like moral undertone, and yeah, I'm really digging his style.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take. So essentially the story is in the prologue. There's a guy named the Alchemist, right? He's an alchemist in 1536. He makes a device called Cronos, which is like a little brown gold scarab that grants you eternal life, but it does require a blood. So yeah, in the very beginning they show, some stuff happens, explosion, he leaves the device behind. There's an estate sale, and then it just like all of his shit goes everywhere. And then we fast forward to present day Mexico, so in, I don't know, 1992. And it was very cool because his house, you know how it has like that gate, that like metal gate. My grandma has that.
Yep.
And I was like, oh shit, did they film it at my grandma's house?
My question is there a letterbox in the front? Are the front parts of that gate open or locked?
Uh-huh.
So you've got the front gates, you've got the porch, you've got the inner like gates,
Yeah.
right? Is that front door locked? Because I'm just giving props to the postman, because
You're
how
worried
did
about
he
the
get the
postman.
letters? Yeah. How did he get the letters through the porch, the land, all inside the shop? Like that's some.
I know the answer. You take the letters and you fold it into a paper airplane, right in the middle.
And then what did he unfold again? The land flat.
Of course.
I just said I was impressed because I could have sworn Jesus or unlocked the front door. Like, how the hell did the postman do that? Sorry,
Right.
I've got questions about this movie.
Right. Yeah.
Important
No.
questions about important things.
Like the door. Yeah, that's valid, honestly. That's continuity. You got to make sure everything's there's good continuity in the films. So we see the gentle antique shop owner named Jesus Gris, which means gray. So Jesus Gray. He discovers the scarab device. He discovers it in the Archangel statue because there was roaches in it.
Now, were those roaches immortal?
All roaches are immortal. They're so tough to kill. If you've lived in New York City, you know that all roaches are immortal and they're everywhere. But I thought it was such a great story device as well as an actual mechanical device. What a great way to introduce the, vampire like, blood. I just thought it actually seemed somewhat believable because to me, like, we know so little about bugs. Like I happen to feel like how mammals were around when the dinosaurs were around, and then after the dinosaurs went, then mammals rose up. I feel like thousands of years from now, it's going to be bugs taking over. So there's something about bugs could survive in space. Tardigrades could survive, trips to another planet. Like, they're so resilient. I thought the way of using the bug inside the device, and that the alchemist, it was like a combination of, machinery and living organism. It actually seemed like a very cool way of introducing the vampiric element. I liked it a lot.
However, I do have another question, because in the opening scene with the alchemist, right, he's making a mold, and a molten mold. So it's like he's just got one mold of. It's not like the thing's built. It's like he's poured a mold of molten metal. How did that thing survive in there? Like, it would have been cooked. Also, how did he separate? How did he actually get intrinsic mechanics when he just poured a mold? Like,
Magic.
sorry,
Vampire magic.
is that what it is? He sprinkled some fairy dust.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's an alchemist. Maybe he came up with a different type of mold.
Now, you see him and he's breaking open the mold, and things like fully formed inside. I'm like, no, could we not have a bit of a scene of, him building it or something?
That's true.
Feels like cheating.
That is very true.
He also didn't look well when he was covered under the rubble and they were digging him out.
Well, you wouldn't look well either if you covered under rubble.
No, but I feel
kind of
like
implies you're having a bad day.
But my feeling was that if this is supposed to make you like live forever, like it didn't seem like he had that much longer if he didn't get buried in rubble. Like I'm expecting it, to be like Dracula, where you look fantastic, 1,000 years later, but he was barely hanging on, is my thought.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I don't know. I personally think that even though this thing can grant you immortality, you're still gonna be like prone to like the elements, to like somebody hitting you in the face with a brick, stuff like that. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I think that was
cracked up to be.
Yeah, I think that was the moral of the story, wasn't it? Like, yeah, you're immortal, but you're still fragile. You can be killed. You're not completely I know, like, it takes a stake to the heart. They brought that element into it. But you're not having a good day. Like, you don't want to be killed. It's going to hurt. It's going to mess you up. I think if you lose bits, like get bits chopped off, they're going to stay chopped off. I sort of got that impression. Like, it's definitely more of a curse than a blessing.
Yeah,
I think so too. Now, going back a little bit again to the roach scene, do you guys think that those roaches were possessed by the creature that was in the scarab, and they knew to like come out to like bring it attention? Because if the roaches wouldn't have crawled out like that and surprised Jesus, he would have never gone in there and tore the archangel apart to go, oh, there's what's inside, let me clean it out because it's hollow. He obviously felt that the statue was hollow, so he's like, there's probably a bunch of roaches and stuff in there, let me clean it out because I can't sell them. As an antique shop owner, you can't sell your stuff with roach infestation. That's just not good business. So do you guys think maybe the roaches were like possessed by the thing in the scarab?
I don't know whether possessed or pheromones, because obviously there's a hole in the eye. It wasn't like they poked out of the thing. So there's already the hole in the eye. So maybe they just got in there, or maybe the thing was clicking away and it just called its own kind, or
Ooh,
it's a tricky one.
I like this take. Even though Del Toro vampires lean towards grotesque horror, he has never faulted the romantic Anne Rice style trend and views it as completely legitimate aspect of the tapestry of vampire lore. Ah, thank you, Lexi, for bringing that up. That is very
The,
interesting.
the tale of the
Strong.
vampire is almost a tragedy as much as it is a horror.
Yeah,
That's the whole idea. Even Bram Stoker's Dracula is about star-crossed lovers, but it's twisted by evil. It's isn't it
yeah.
the main question? Can you actually love if you are pure evil? Um, yeah, and it's been explored loads of times.
I do always love the fact that the Dracula, the vampire, like there's always been a romantic element to it. You know, the sucking of the neck and everything. There's always been like a very erotic, element to it, and you see that throughout. And what I liked about this movie though is this took a different take. It's about love, but it's not about romantic love. It's more the love of a family love of a grandparent and a granddaughter. I kind of like that they went that route with it, just because we have seen so much of the other type of romantic love when it comes to the vampire lore. So this is a different type of love that they focused on.
Come on,
It's
Chris. No
either
Twilight action.
no, no vampire sparkled in the production of this movie.
That's fucking hilarious. I know I don't like Twilight, but I had to throw it in there.
No glitter was involved.
No glitter. Not in Guillermo del Toro's
Nope.
movie. None of that is gonna happen. So
It's either fate. This is the old question: is it fate or the randomness of the universe? And back to the cockroaches, it's either it just happened, a sequence of events, just completely random, brought Jesus into this world, or the thing was calling out, but once again, did he just happen to be in the vicinity of it? It's
Yeah.
I think it's not really answered. It's just that's the way it is, and life could be like that. Is that not the
yeah,
human thing, the condition? Though we're always trying to answer, why does this happen? What could have been done differently? Did I cause this? Blah 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 blah. And
Mm,
sometimes the answer is there's no answer. You just have to,
yeah.
these are the cards you've been dealt. Crack on.
Yeah.
that's very true. That's very true. I like that take, because at the end the whole film, there's this like fake control, but in reality, they're not in control.
Mhm.
The director is so obsessed with having that control that he loses sight of actually living. So I like the storytelling and the story angle from this aspect. So now he cleans the statue and all this fun stuff, right? And then while cleaning it, he triggers the device and he pierces his hand, and it like kind of tethers him to the machine. So he accidentally does it. He gets his wife to bandage it up. The wife kind of picks the pieces out, right? And later that evening he couldn't sleep. He just couldn't sleep. He's at the fridge drinking water. He's got all this
Oh my
thirst.
god, that scene! Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Get a glass, you animal! Oh my god! Like,
But he
don't.
was an animal. That's the point. He's turning into Nosferatu.
And plus, it's the 90s. You ever heard of Rap Fast?
Yeah.
Oh my god! See that meat just sitting there, like covered up. You even grease
Yeah.
paper or something. People have managed to cover food for decades. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Throw
Oh,
some tinfoil on it. Throw some tinfoil on that, right?
yeah,
You don't want to leave that meat just hanging out like that. That's true.
god, that's like.
Oh, that part disturbed me. It was like, ew, like the meat just hanging out. He's just looking at it, but he gets this bright freaking idea that he's gonna actually go back and then do the thing, and then it like snaps, right? And then this time it goes and stabs him right in the wrist, and the whole thing, the whole mechanism, and this reminded me a lot of like a drug addict, because he was always fiending for that next hit.
Mhm.
Did you guys get that feeling too from that scene?
Yeah, because I think that's the idea, isn't it? It makes you dependent. Obviously, when it injects, it's some sort of venom. I always remember this from like when I worked with youth. There was a police visit and talked about heroin. Heroin chemically bonds to your body. So that first hit of heroin is the initial chemical bond to the body. That's why heroin addicts are they always try to get that first. It's known as chasing the dragon or something. You know, they're trying to get the first hit, but they're
Never
never
is
going to
good, right?
replicate that because it's the
Yeah.
initial bonding of the drug to the chemical receptor. There's technical stuff for it. I don't know it. I'm not smart, but it's one of those drugs that rather than being habitual, it's actually chemically, you become chemically dependent on it. And I always have that in the back of my head when I think of things like this, because that's what's happened. The Venoms went in and made him dependent, and add the supernatural aspect of immortality, that you're a slave to it as opposed to it granting you anything. I just thought that was played really well.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. You know, the device itself, like the creator of it, it was almost like he thought about wanting more people to have this. You know what I mean? Like there's almost an altruistic intention by him, because the whole way it's designed, it's to kind of like, you know, replicate the, you know, this ability, this immortality. So, you know, they didn't really get into like what, you know, the original designer's intentions were. Maybe it was just selfish that he just wanted to live longer himself. But the way it's designed, where there's no, you know, input by it takes over, it does all the work. Like it's almost like he designed it for someone who doesn't know anything about the device, so that it'll keep, you know, going on and on and on, and maybe create, you know, the future of humanity. Like maybe this is a way of, you know, his intention was to try to, you know, extend humanity's lifespan. Like there was definitely an interesting design in it, where you didn't have to know anything or do anything. It does it all itself, which I like in my devices. I don't want to have to know how to use something. I don't want to read the instruction manual. Just pop it on my hand and wake me up 10 hours later with an itchy palm.
Yeah.
Well, the fact he went straight to scissors and not like a knitting needle or anything to scratch his hand, like that's severe.
Oh my god, yes. Talk about that itch. He was trying to itch with his teeth with the scissors. Have you guys had any itch like that extreme in your life?
See me just thinking about it. That's why I'm sort of scratching at the moment. When I think about things like that, I instantly start itching, and I can't not think about it.
My hand was itching when I was watching that scene.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm like that. You know, you're sort of like that's the whole way through the movie. It's like
I've had an itch that bad when I broke my hand. I actually broke my hand at a horror convention, believe it or not. And when they put a cast on me, oh my god, that cast itched so fucking bad. And I wish I had a stick that I could just like, oh, so that scene where he was like shoving the scissors in his bandage, I was like, you know what? That would fucking work, because it's kind of a stick like thing that you could like itch at it. But I'm like, but I would be too afraid to itch it with scissors. That's too barbaric.
When you say you hurt your hand at a horror convention, were
Yeah,
you trying to high five? Were you trying to high five Freddy Krueger? Because I'm telling you, it never works.
I wish it was that fun. No, I was helping a friend at their booth, and I was carrying boxes to the car after, you know, the convention was over, and somebody left a metal grate, you know, from the booths, how they have like the metal grates to hang stuff so you can sell. Well, somebody left that on the floor, so I slipped and wham, and I landed on my hand and I broke it. I had a non-displaced metacarpal thing. I don't know. Weird sciencey. basically non-displaced means I had a fracture. I had a pretty bad break, but it was in a break, which is
Yeah.
the worst kind of way
Or
to
like a
heal
closed
it.
fracture, it hadn't actually separated. It's still
Yeah, it's not
hairline.
displaced.
Yep,
Yeah, so
like a hairline fracture or something. Oh, they're lovely.
it took forever to heal, and I couldn't move, and I had
They're
to go to
worse.
physical therapy. Yeah, and my grip was like terrible for a while. I have good grip now, but before that, for like at least a year, I couldn't grip stuff very well. So like
Thanks.
even though a water bottle was annoying, but I definitely understand that itch though. I was like, ah, itch with your teeth, with anything, I guess. So in the more after he put the apparatus, right, Jesus wakes up and miraculously he looks younger, his skin looks better, and he just looks younger than he has in decades. Even his wife was like, wow, what did you do? He blamed it on shaving his mustache. And he's like, do you like it? And she was like, yeah, it's different. um but notice how she said it's different.
Yeah, but not better.
Yeah, exactly.
The the grandmother is, I don't know, she's the least I don't want to say likable, but you can't really connect with her. There's a bit of a, like, even when she's at the dinner breakfast table and stuff, like there's a curtness to her.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
comes across, she's a bit of an old windbag, and it took me a minute to warm up there. Like it wasn't really until the New Year's Eve party that I had any sympathy for her, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because the grandfather has this wonderful, warm relationship with the granddaughter, and all we see the grandma is like, sit up straight, and like totally not engaging with her or spending time with her. So it does put you off to her right away, which I'm sure was the intention.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro wanted to really emphasize the granddaughter's relationship. Yeah, with the grandfather.
So we
What?
have an interesting comment here, real quick, from Lex. The alchemist who built the device used the insect to feel the mechanism, making the roaches a macabre symbol of eternal life and biological corruption. And it offers an interesting fact. Del Toro's grandmother passed away while he was writing Cronos, and that inspired him to make the story about a love between a grandparent and grandchild. That's interesting.
Hmm.
I would have never known that. Yeah, he lost his grandparent.
He definitely seems to write from the heart. Like I don't want to get too much in the devil's backbone, but there was an element there with a note and the connection between a parent and a child. So I love that. They always say like write what you know. It works for directors too, and he seems more connected. At least in the limited number of movies I've seen so far, he does seem very connected to his work, especially in the early days, which I think he comes across the screen. It really does. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so that's an awesome take. I like that. So we do end up learning about the Dieter de la Guardia connection. We learn that there is a wealthy but dying Dieter, and he's been searching for the device that now Jesus is kind of hooked on. Um, and yeah, and I like the fact that he speaks only in English with his nephew, because if you think about it, they probably are supposed to be representational of American people coming to Mexico and wanting to take something that probably doesn't belong to them. And I like the way he used them, specifically English only, and then the native Mexican people Spanish only. That was kind of an interesting contrast. What did you guys think about that? I know you guys spoke a little bit about that earlier, but
I think I'd just be better if they spoke Spanish.
you think so?
Just I don't know, because he even does it when he's speaking with Jesus, when Angel's going about. Like,
Yeah.
why? First of all, why give them Spanish names if they're not going to
Yeah,
speak
and him.
Spanish?
Yeah,
May as well just
exactly.
call them Brad and Tony or something. You know what I mean? Why bother then going to
Yeah,
the names? Just
yeah,
if that's what we're going to do. Um, I couldn't take these too seriously. That's the only problem with this movie.
yeah.
By the way, there's a proper storm coming in. Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah, I
There's
heard it.
lightning and everything.
Oh,
Perfect.
It's been like
what?
hot as hell for the last week or so, and now it looks like it's finally breaking.
Calm. This is a
Perfect.
vampire one. This is not
Yeah.
Frankenstein. Frankenstein would have been.
It's alive! It's alive!
Can't talk shit about the dieter because you're gonna.
Yeah, that's it. He's up there. No, these were the two clunkiest characters,
Mhm.
so it is difficult. This is what I think ruins the tone of the movie because there's like
Yeah.
a tragic story here. Grandfather stuff because Jesus does not really change as a person. This
No.
thing's trying to change him, and he's fighting against it. Lovely scene at the end with him and Aurora as well. But these two, I don't know. Like, what's that? Is that chamber supposed to be hermetically sealed?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but he pops it through the dumb waiter and then steps through. Like, he's got this, but he has fish tanks and stuff. Which, like, if anybody has ever kept fish, every bacterium you need bacteria in fish tanks. So every bacteria under the sun, just to have a fish tank, operating normally,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
in there, and he's got loads of them. So is he in a hermetically sealed environment? But he has all this stuff. It just doesn't make sense. Just have him sick. Just have him in just a quirky collector. Just have him sick. That's fine. I think he's went over the top with these two characters and Data especially. Yes, we know he's rich, but also if he's rich, why does he have to live in his own factory?
Facts. Because I think he's just
You,
that mentally unstable. I don't know. They could have definitely done a better job at that part of the things.
this is the only bit where the
Yeah.
movie, the wheels fall off the movie for me. Is just those two and that premise, because is he trying to be different? Like in this case, just stick with a standard story. Rich bloke wants immortality. Have him in his study. In this case I would not mind a generic bad guy and his
Mhm.
upstart son. No, sorry, nephew. His upstart nephew.
Yeah,
Um,
nephew. Yeah.
But
yeah, just have
I
the
think it's
sci-fi
interesting.
bit doesn't
Yeah.
fit. Doesn't.
Yeah. I agree to some extent. I do feel like those two characters take away from the tone of the movie. I think it would have been better if they had kept it, along the same dark tone. But I think they wanted to, like to Luna's point, I think they wanted to emphasize the fact that the his son was, and the henchmen were so dumb and goofy because it is a commentary. I do think about English speaking, not having respect for nature, and they just want to take everything, even death. They won't respect death, and they want to take that. So I think that it was intentional that they had them not speaking Spanish, that they had them speaking English and acting in a very, as you always say, Yankee Stanley.
Damiakastani.
Yeah,
Damiakastanis.
yeah, a dumb Western way. I think that was intentional, and I think it does tie into the fact that you have to have respect for the laws of nature, and whenever you try to take even something like this, which everlasting life, which is not promised to you, nature doesn't promise that to you. So I think that was important that they had those characters acting in that way. But I do think that they could have done it, made the same point, and just had less comedy, and I think it would have worked better.
Mhm. I think as long as they showed the Dieter in a way that shows his obsession to find, like maybe if his study was full to the brim of archangels, beheaded archangels, and just like shown like how extreme and what lengths he's taking to find this thing. I think that would have been fine too. There's no him being at the warehouse doesn't do much for the story. I think we could have done this in his house. We could have done this in any location, but just showing the symbolic representation of his mental depravity, and I think that is the most important thing. So keep the sheer volume of archangels that he had everywhere strong, but you can change the location. I'd be totally okay with that.
Do you think this is a bit of tell, don't show?
Yeah.
No way I always say in a movie, show us, don't tell us.
Mhm.
I feel like this is a bit of the opposite.
Mhm.
But then
Exactly.
again, if this is your premiere, your debut movie,
I was
I can't. I've seen directors who are 10 movies in and would still do stuff like this. Look at you, Michael
yeah.
Bay.
I was just gonna say, I think Colin, I think that's a great point, because this is his right. This is his
First. Yeah.
movie, so you have to imagine he did not have the clout that he came to earn later on. So, you also wonder how much is this completely his vision, or how much is this a little bit of studio interference saying like, hey, we saw the first rough cut. This looks a little dark, don't you think? Could you add a little more, comedic element?
Fluffiness.
Yeah, that could have been a factor. Even if it's a small factor, that could have tied into it. Or there could have been some influence, or it could just be some rookie mistakes. And mistakes is kind of a tough word, because I love the movie, but
I'm
I do think
trying not to be overly
yeah,
harsh. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be. I had a fun
yeah.
time with this. It's a quirky, really emotional watch. So I wouldn't watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, before Chronos, he did do like a horror comedy 9-minute short. That's why I didn't really want to dig into that, because I'm like, it's 9 minutes. We can throw it in at the end. At the end of watching everything, I'm sure we can throw it in there. It's called Geometria, which is English for geometry. It's a 9-minute like horror comedy short. So that's his very kind of first thing that he did, and then right into Chronos. So I this is his very first feature, that isn't 9 minutes.
No, it's fair play.
Pretty impressive for a first movie. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He did Geometria in 1987, and then Chronos in 1992. So
But is it not the same? It takes you a minute to find your style.
yeah,
It's even doing this stuff, right? Everyone has their own pattern. Everyone has their own method of doing things, but you don't know that until you've got like about 100 videos in. If that makes sense. So you're not going to get it like in your first movie. You're not going to get it in your first broadcast, your first video. It's just one of them things. Art style takes time and repetition to get what is you're trying to come across. So from
yeah,
this movie, I get he still figured it out. You know what I mean? It's his first go.
yeah.
Um, we don't know what Del Toro's style is at this point, because he doesn't know. You know what I mean? He's still
Exactly.
figuring it out himself. Once he figures out his style, then I mean, well, obviously, as we go further along, we'll discuss that. In fact, it'd be interesting to see when it takes hold,
Mhm.
when he becomes Del Toro.
Yeah, when you go, that's it.
Yep.
That's his style. That's the breakthrough. The breakthrough film, I think, would be a good way, a good identifier. Now, well, since we are talking kind of a little bit about his filmography, how do you think the film set the stage for his later career?
Oh, you can see it there for definite. You can see his style. You can see his undertones, especially the emotional. Because all his movies have this emotional undertone. And
Especially for the monster. Jesus, technically in this case, he was the most human out of all of them, but technically he was the monster, right?
Hmm.
But still he remained and kept that humanity, and he does that so beautifully. He makes the monster be the most human out of all of them.
Yeah, and that's yeah,
That's his style. Yeah.
that's his
Yeah.
thing, man. His thing.
So I don't have the experience that you guys have with this filmography, but what's jumped out to me so far is you guys hit on is the word humanity. I think it's so difficult to convey an emotional response to a jaded audience. And even in 1992, by then the movie industry had been around for a long time. To get an emotional response from someone is incredibly difficult. And so far, both of the movies I've seen recently from him, including this one, it absolutely got me. And it's one of those things where you see 1,000 movies, but how many do you really think about afterwards? And this is one that definitely I've been thinking about since I finished watching it. So he has that, which means that he's probably been through a lot in his own life, right? Like he had to have to convey that emotion, and it's clear that he's been through some trauma and some sadness in his life, and he's able to convey that through the camera, which is absolutely extremely rare and a testament to his ability as a director. So
Yeah, definitely, and I can't wait to show you Crimson Peak. Other than Pan's Labyrinth, Crimson Peak is one of my favorite Del Toro films. You'll see why. I don't
Because
know.
this
I
way,
don't know if Colin.
Pan's
Yeah,
Labyrinth was my first Del Toro movie, and that still rattles about in my head.
yeah.
yeah.
That still
You know,
just kind of lives
yeah,
in there rent free.
it just bounces about in there. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, I love that film. It's one of my favorites. But getting back a little bit into this, so we get introduced to these two dudes that are like on this quest, and then the dieter sends Angel to terrorize the antique shop by smashing and looting and breaking everything to try to find the scarab, because earlier in an earlier scene Angel does make it to the shop. He buys the angel after our friend Jesus had already removed the scarab. So they take it home, presumably, and they're like, that thing is in there, right? So then he comes back and robs everything and to try to find the scarab. Of course, he didn't have it, because we obviously saw Jesus getting high on this. But yeah, so a little bit after that, he must have been bummed out. His store just got obliterated, and the moment that kind of made me go, huh, is when he looks at everything's smashed up. He sees a glass perfectly there still on the table, and just goes boom and smashes the rest of it. And I'm like, what was that for? What was Del Toro trying to convey in that scene? What do you guys
frustration.
think?
I do the
Yeah.
same. Like if I'm very much about my personal space, and it's not so much the shop; it's something you've built and worked towards, and somebody's come in to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's going to evoke emotions,
Yeah.
and yeah, like if it was me, I'd be like all the dark thoughts at once, like of what I want to do to whoever that person is.
Yeah. Similar to me, I was personally a victim of a robbery in my house back in 2015, and the thing that really was the most upsetting is that they went into my son's room and they stole his piggy bank, which might have only had $90 in it, but it was just a violation that there was someone in his room
Mm-hmm.
taking from him. Like it was, it's one thing you take, cash, you take electronics, whatever. For me, like
The TV, whatever.
I'm a grown up, but to take, my son was only a few years old at the time, to the violation of that. So when I was watching this, that's what it evoked to me was a feeling of, just helplessness. you know, and lack of control. Like someone came and ruined his entire livelihood, and you know, it doesn't seem like this is an error or a location where there's going to be like insurance, you know. So his entire livelihood was just destroyed. So
especially antiques, you know,
especially antiques, right? You can't replace that. So
Mm-mm.
I think it was just a feeling of helplessness and frustration, to your point. And it's like, you know what? I need to take back some control. I'm going to cause this last glass. I'm the one doing it. I'm not letting, you know, some burglar destroy everything. It's some modicum of taking action, you know? So that's, at least that's what it evoked to me, just from my personal experience.
That's interesting. Because in my mind, I would want to save the little bit of stuff that wasn't broken. I'd like pick up the glass, take care of everything so my granddaughter wouldn't get hurt on the glass, and I would preserve what wasn't destroyed. But for him to kind of go wham on the last piece, I'm like, damn, that's pretty ballsy, you know?
Yeah,
That was
that's just anger. You know, that's just, as Chris said, it's not about the stuff. It's the act and the violation and the intrusion
Yeah.
into your life. Especially, he seems to be a meek, like mild-mannered person. Gets on with
Right.
everybody. Doesn't put a foot wrong. Doesn't go out and antagonize people.
yeah.
Trades fairly. Like the scene, I think the contrast was seen like when Angle comes in and it's all friendly and amicable, no threats. You know, what I mean, he's just another customer. Even the bit, like it was stupid, but the bit on the nose, you know, he's wanting to get plastic surgery. You know, it was all nice, and then for it to flip that way,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's like the initial scenes, his life. That's every customer interaction. That's just the way he's lived his life. And this has been like a turning point. It's not like he lives in the hood and this happens every week.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a once in a lifetime.
mhm.
So sad, so terrible. So after that whole thing happens, then the family gets ready for the New Year's Eve party. And guess what Jesus is doing in the bathroom? He's gotta just get another hit, but this time he's not happy with just doing it on the wrist. He wants to do it right in the heart, you know. So it reaches the mainstream quicker. That and then the wife, what are you doing in there? Hurry up! And what made me laugh so much is like he's like, oh, I'm already out. I'm already out of the shower. Oh. And then he's barely starting to wipe himself off and clean himself off. And it like reminded me of like, you know, the people that you text, hey, you know, you told me you'd be here at like 5 o'clock, and they're like, yeah, I'm on my way. But actually they're just in the shower. They're actually not on their way.
Oh
It
yeah.
kind of reminded me of that. And that's why I was laughing during that scene. I'm just like, oh God. He told the wife that he's already out of the shower, and no, he's not. So after that happens, then Jesus begins to still you see him kind of have some unnatural side effects. And there's a pivotal moment where they're at the party, they danced, whatever, and then somebody has a bloody nose, right? 'Cause they're just, I don't know, whatever happened to him, and Jesus is just like a bloodhound, like, yeah, blood. He follows this dude to the bathroom. The dude's like bleeding all over the place. And it's so funny because he's like, oh, this part grossed me the fuck out. The bathroom scene.
Yeah.
So the dude's bleeding, and then Jesus is just like waiting because he's trying to get at the blood. So he's like about to lick it from the sink, and then another dude comes out of the bathroom, does not wash his hands, just straight
No,
up,
he's straight out of the cubicle. Like,
right?
yeah.
He just throws the blood down the sink, and walks out. He does not
And
wash his hands. And
do
I'm
you know
like,
the most horrifying thing? There's a buffet at this party.
oh no.
Yes, there's a buffet at the party, so he's good ride. After that, yeah, yeah, that's as close to the fridge scene. That's as up there with the fridge scene because that. And I'm not even talking about the steak. Anyway, yeah, I don't appreciate the steak like covered up, but the water jug is like, don't do that. It's like people. You ever see it when people are drinking from milk cartons and stuff straight away? It's like die a horrible death, go and live in a cave, get out of.
Yeah.
You don't belong in human society. Get out.
Get a
Yeah.
fucking glass,
Yeah.
you animal.
Even the roaches saw that scene and they're like, "Oh, you guys are
No,
gross.
we're
We're
right.
not. We're
That's why they
leaving."
run away.
Yeah,
The Jew.
we're not-
Yeah.
He brought this
We-
home first. He saw the one he does the fridge. Like, no, get out of here. Nah, this place is unhygienic. Go, run.
Yeah, but that dude just touches probably poop because he was not in no urinal. He
Mhm.
probably wiped his butt and it had poop residue. Then he mixed it with blood residue and he walked out to the party
And
again.
there's a buffet at the party.
So now the ladles and the serving spoons and everything are gonna have poop and blood. And
Yeah,
that's
Chris,
why I don't go to potlucks.
yeah,
Don't point
we
at
were
me.
talking about.
What does that remind you of me?
No, it was a conversation. Calm yourself down. Remember the conversation about the peanuts?
Oh yes.
Yep.
Okay, I
The
thought I
peanuts.
did something.
So back in the day, they used to leave bowls of peanuts out in bars. The
Mhm.
idea being that you know, if you eat salty stuff, you get thirsty and you'll drink more. Until they did a study and they just went around the bars and grabbed the bowl of peanuts and tested them. And on average, there's at least 27 different types of urine in each bowl of peanuts.
No.
Yep, that's why they stopped doing that. That's why you don't get peanuts at the bar anymore, because once that report came out, I was like, nope.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh, that's nasty.
but that's been a thing that went. When did that? That was like that was about the 90s. That came out, and then they just stopped serving. You don't get peanuts in the bar anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a thing. Like that was just people are disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I
people
don't
are
like people.
disgusting.
I don't like people.
So the lesson here is vampires. It's okay to suck blood and stuff like that, but just be hygienic. You know.
Yeah, but it wasn't the vampire did it. That was
No, I know.
the
but
human.
it
Like
was
once
good.
again, the monster's actually more. Well, no, not really, because he has bad
Not
habits.
really, because later we
he
see a
drinks-
scene.
Yeah.
So once the dude that left out of the bathroom stall didn't wash her hands and touched blood and poop. But anyways, so Jesus is like, oh man, there goes my blood. And then he looks down and there's a puddle of blood, the tiniest little puddle, but nevertheless, a puddle of blood on the floor. And bathroom floors are not clean, especially in public settings. And you see him bend down and go, eh. I'm like, no, God, no, please, God. And I'm thinking in my head, how much would you have to pay me, even if it's a fake movie? How much would you have to pay me for me to actually lick something off a floor for a film? I'm like, you would have to clean that bastard a lot.
There'd be like a square, and I'll have to be like super sanitized, and
Yeah, no,
which I don't think it was. I think it was just get into it.
That part really grossed me out. And I was like, oh, ew, that's nasty. The whole time I was like, ugh, grossed out. So after we see that whole scene, Angel tracks Jesus down. They have
Last
a
week gets kicked in the head.
Yep. That is very true. They have a violent struggle with each other, and then Angel believes he killed Jesus. So what he does is what every action movie does. They put the guy in the car, press on the gas, and throw him over the cliff. That's every film. I can guarantee you they do that. So we get that whole scene. The death. Jesus is pronounced dead by doctors, and he's taken to the morgue. We actually don't see that, but that's inferred by like the paperwork and all that. Um, so the funniest part that got me, and I was like dying laughing, when Angel comes back to check in on him to make sure like he's actually dead. The more guy goes, oh yeah, he's in the box, and he's like, medium well or well done. That joke was fucking dark.
Mortician's humor.
Yes, that joke was so dark. And I know one mortician, and she has a pretty dark sense of humor. So it kind of reminded me of that. So, what did you guys think of that joke? Do you guys think it was funny? Do you think it like took away from the film?
No, I get it. That sort of humor, like that just makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
how else would you deal with it?
Yeah.
Unless you have that like dark sense of humor, because if not, that's
Yeah.
it's actually been scientifically proven. It's a valid coping mechanism. People, police, paramedics, soldiers, um,
Doctors. Yeah.
anyone that's in that sort of like deals with death and carnage on a daily basis, morticians, you know,
Yeah.
funeral directors. There's that dark sense of humor because it's just the pressure release valve.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have a good friend of mine is a surgeon, and I always ask him about that. And he's like, you have to try to treat it like it's not a human. You can't think about the human being that you're operating on. You have to like treat it like a car, like you're just working on the engine. You're not thinking about oh my gosh, this is a father. If I can't stop this bleeding, he's gonna bleed out. Like you just have to treat it like that. So I think from the mortician standpoint, they probably have to desensitize themselves just to like you said, as a coping mechanism. But I didn't feel like that humor detracted the way that the son just being goofy, Ron Perlman's character. Yeah, so that
I'm not a
as
Ron Perlman fan.
yeah, so as an isolated joke, it did not detract, and I thought it was fitting with that character's occupation. So it didn't. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, you didn't mind it. I definitely in that same scene where they're preparing he's like, oh, look at my
My
beautiful
best
work,
work yet. Oh
my
God.
best work yet. And then the guy's like, don't spend so much time, we're gonna cremate him. And he's like, oh damn it, he's
Now you tell
genuine.
me.
Yeah. So he like starts ripping off the fucking makeup, and that was fucking hilarious. Again, very dark humor, but it was just so funny. So before the morgue worker pushes the coffin in to get burned,
The fact
um
that the suit is reusable as well. It's a Velcro suit.
yeah, the Velcro suit.
It
Oh
just
my god.
and the fact that towels are off the wall, like this place is scuzzy as hell.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of parts of Mexico aren't very rich, so we're gonna have to.
But they said that he had no insurance plan, he had no like death policy. It's like
No.
put a it's your fault. This is why you come here. This is the place where you said your relatives that you don't like.
Yeah. Or if you don't have any money,
Yeah.
either you don't like that relative or you don't have any money. Um, so we see the morgue worker push the crate in, right? But we never actually see Jesus escape. However, in the next scene, and then Ron Perlman's character never goes, oh, let me see, make sure it's actually in there. They just go, oh yeah, coffin's burning. He's obviously in there, so he's gone. But
Which
nobody
makes
actually,
sense.
yeah,
In fairness to Angel, Data doesn't tell him what this is about. Like he's not
Right.
trusted with information.
no,
So
Right.
he's just, goofing along, thinking it's a normal job. And he doesn't really take his uncle seriously.
yeah.
So I can't fault him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. He did leave him a lot in the dark, and I'm like, wouldn't you want your henchmen to at least know a little
But
bit of what they're working on so they can know like what to look out for?
but then he doesn't want him to take a Cronos device, I suppose, because Angel's basically waiting because you have that scene at the very beginning where he's revised his will.
Yeah.
So he's waiting to be king of the castle, and if he finds out that his uncle's going to live forever,
He is not gonna want that.
I I got the impression though that the dad tried to tell him some things because there was that one scene where he like shows him the book. He's like yelling at him like, "Haven't I told you about the archangel?" So I get the impression that Ron Perlman's character just doesn't listen, and that maybe the dad did try to explain all this to him, and he just too obstinate to listen.
you get a
True.
lot too. Yeah, he basically he's not a worthy successor.
Yeah,
There's that sort of
very
under.
dismissive. Whatever,
Mhm,
dad. Archangel got it. Yeah, whatever.
mhm.
Oh wow. So the Guardia was originally meant to speak Spanish, but the director changed it to English after the actor Ron Perlman, who played the nephew Angel, struggled with the Spanish dialogue. That's
Ah,
funny.
so it wasn't as well thought out as we thought.
Mm.
It's like you can't speak the language, speak the language that you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I always, before I knew Ron Perlman's name, I always referred to him as Big Ugly Dude.
Big ugly dude.
Yeah, I like, oh, it's Big Ugly Dude again. In his movies up until Hellboy, I think.
Yeah,
I just,
definitely.
God, I hated him in Blade 2. Oh,
It's funny. So once we see Jesus escape the morgue, then he returns home, and Aurora kind of discovers him at the door, right? She brings him in. Oh my god, that scene was so cute where she's cleaning out the toy chest and then putting grandpa in there. That was so cute.
yep, giving him a blankie and all.
Yeah, and the
Mm.
little teddies and blankie. I was like, oh, she's such a sweetie.
Does
That
Aurora deliver one line of dialogue throughout this whole movie?
she does not actually. She is a mute child. So how did you guys actually? That was one of my questions for you guys. Um,
I didn't know whether it was just she didn't need to have dialogue or
she was
what the.
mute.
Because we know
So,
something happened with the parents
mhm.
and didn't really go into detail, just as she lives with her grandparents. She's really attached to her grandmother. And I don't think the grandmother is too happy about it. There's almost like
Yeah,
bit of jealousy there.
yeah.
So
Um,
Why do you think Del Toro chose a mute child as a granddaughter of the protagonist?
so I might be reading too much into this, but my thought on that is that often, when children are mute, it's as a result of some traumatic event that they've witnessed and they're not able to cope with it, especially, before modern, times and, psychiatrists, child psychiatrists, and
Therapy,
different
yeah.
things like therapy and things like that. So my thought was, we don't know what happened to the parents. Maybe the child witnessed something and it became mute as a result, and she's just not able to cope with the horrors of life. And it was kind of akin to the idea that the grandpa didn't want to continue to be another horror. Like, he wouldn't put his granddaughter through that, having to witness more trauma, more horror in her life, and that led to his decision at the end of the movie. So that, again, could be reading too much into it, but that was why I thought he chose a mute child, because she's seen too much horror and is not able to cope with that, and the grandfather didn't want to add to that.
it was interesting that he didn't go to his wife. Do you know what I mean? When
Mhm.
he escapes from when he gets out of the morgue and that and comes back, it's not his
Yeah.
wife. His first instinct is not to go. Like, Aurora lets him into the house, fair enough. but he didn't go to his wife.
Yeah,
He
he
lets
did.
her, you know, I mean, there's, like I said, there's something undertone, there's an undertone with the grandmother character that
Mm.
when it comes down to it, he doesn't fully trust her,
They
but he
don't have a
trusts
Yeah,
great.
Aurora complicitly. Because
Yeah,
even
they
though
don't.
Aurora's mute, she can still go tell, you know what I mean? She can still communicate.
yeah. I think it's showing that culturally speaking, you don't want to show that vulnerability, that monster side of you to your spouse. And I think because Aurora's so innocent, he can definitely be like, this is what's going on, and she won't judge him, while
Mm,
the wife will be like, oh my god, what happened to you? And that's, he doesn't want to deal with that drama. I wouldn't want to deal with that drama. I just want somebody to support me and back me up through this fucking crazy ass ordeal without making me feel worse about myself. So
mhm.
I think that's why he chose Aurora to be vulnerable with, because he knew his granddaughter wouldn't be like, what the fuck, grandpa?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Rather than the wife.
non-judgmental.
The wife would be very much judgmental, I feel, and not supportive.
Hmm.
Yeah, it
Interesting.
just, like I said, it's just interesting, isn't it?
It is very interesting. So after, Aurora hides him for a bit, then we see him pop up at night because he can't be in the sun now. That sun bad. Sun is very bad for him now because he's full, like, decked out vampire status. So Jesus goes to the dieter and tries to convince him that, just kind of like give me the book, and I just want to know how to get rid of things. And the dieter's trying to tell him that it's a gift, he should embrace it and all this stuff. So Jesus definitely rejects the dieter's offer. He wants to hold on to that humanity a little bit more. Um, what did you guys think of that final meeting, and why do you think he went to the dieter to try
Well, the
to?
final meeting's when they break in to steal the book. The first meeting was after the break in
Yeah,
because he left a calling card. You know, what I mean, they weren't subtle about
yeah,
it. We're open all night. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I meant more like, why do you think he went to try to, like, say, hey, let's work this out?
that's his nature, isn't it? Like that, but that scene with the glass, I think that's why I seen with the glass was important
Hmm.
because that's the only time that Jesus wasn't Jesus. You know, what I mean, he's an amicable, like just wants to get along with people.
Yeah,
yeah,
And to be honest, if the thing hadn't have stabbed him, he wouldn't have had it, he'd just handed it over. You know, what I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
sold it at a reasonable price, that wouldn't have been an issue. But if because it stabbed him and he's got the venom in him, you know, now
he
he's like
knows.
addicted to it, or you know, he doesn't even know what's happening to him because I don't think he's somebody that's, you know, partakes in random substances. You know, just not that sort of person. So this is like taking him over. Like, well, what's this?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's it. He's trying to make sense of himself, but he wants a way out. He doesn't want to keep the Kronos device.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? He just wants,
yeah,
and he said himself, like, death is part of life. You know, why would I want to live forever? Blah blah blah. But you know, you
Hmm.
had that part of the conversation. So he doesn't want this. He wasn't searching for it. It was just circumstance put him in this crazy situation. If the
yeah,
cockroaches hadn't come out, he'd have sold to Gabriel and done. You know what I mean? Never blinked twice. His life would have went on as normal.
Yep.
Um, the problem is he's trying to reason, or you know, he's dealing with a psychopath, and I think he knows that. So he knows there's no reasonable way, especially when the first instinct was to trash his shop after not getting, you know, over a simple thing.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
guaranteed, if I hadn't stabbed him, it'd have been in the shop anyway. He could have come back next week and bought it.
Yeah.
I know it would have been a very short movie. It would have been 10 minutes instead of 9, but
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
that has to happen.
Yeah.
I think Guillermo del Toro had to put those two characters together to show the diametrically opposed philosophies. It is a true good versus evil, because Jesus is one of those individuals that, like a good person, if you have power, you don't want to use it, or you don't want to use it wrong. You want to give it away. You want to share it. So that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is evil people always want more power, and they always want it for themselves. So I thought by putting them together in that scene, I thought like you really see the contrast that, Jesus is trying to get rid of the power. He didn't ask for it. He doesn't want to use it or abuse it. And his counterpart is trying to get something that he doesn't deserve. It doesn't belong to him. So I thought it was interesting to see both philosophies go head to head in that scene, and the actors were fantastic.
This is the question. I think because of the ham-fisted nature of the two characters, like I said, this is where it takes me out of the movie. I don't regard Data as evil. He's obsessive. He's fearful. And, if you're fearful and obsessive, it can go out in the wrong way. But Angel is a thug.
Yeah.
And he doesn't always carry out his uncle's wishes. Like, don't forget, Angel was just sent out to buy the stuff. Angel's the one that automatically turns to violence.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, a lot of Data's anger is frustration that he doesn't have an heir apparent. And he's stuck with Angel. And he knows he's a thug, and he'll be nothing more than a British, vain, shallow individual.
Mm.
And he, if you take away what's implied rather than what's presented, if that makes sense, because these two characters could be so much more in depth, but I just think because of the actors and the way they're presented, it's very two-dimensional, and that's what takes away. There's so much scope here for philosophical arguments and back and forth and philosophies and that, but we don't get it in this movie because they don't have the. It's his first outing. The actors aren't the best. The script isn't the best for them. I think it would have been better Spanish characters rather than American ones.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it would have fitted so much better and flowed better.
Oh,
this
yeah.
feels like the square peg rammed into the round hole with these two.
Yeah, it would have felt more like The Devil's Backbone.
Mm-hmm.
I feel if he would have casted two Spanish speaking for those two roles,
it would have been a completely different movie. And we would have
Yeah.
I think it would be more the philosophical nature, but because these two, that's where it borderlines on comedy.
Mm. But that's interesting that your take on it, that you don't look at Dieter as evil. I did, and I'm curious. Luna could break the tie, but from my perspective,
have we got a fallout now? Is that the rules? Is then the rules we have opposing opinions? That's it. We can't ever talk ever again.
That's why
we'll have to get in two sides, and everyone has to fight with each other.
I gotta go to this side.
That's why we put Luna in the middle of the three screens.
Awkward.
I don't.
I'll just present my side of it. For me, I do feel like Dieter is complicit in all of the actions that Angel takes. Like, he's getting all these archangels. Do you think he's getting them legally? Like, not everyone is willing to give up their archangel, which could have religious significance to people. So I expect that a lot of these were stolen or worse to get it from the original owners. So I do think that Dieter is aware of Angel's methods of getting a lot of these things. So right away, and just one aspect of evil is breaking laws, and what bigger law than the law of nature, of mortality? He's trying to break that. So to me, I did view the character of Dieter as evil. Maybe not as comically, snidely whiplash evil from the cartoons in the 80s. You won't get that. Yeah, you won't get that reference, Luda, because we're old. But basically, he's not he's not comically evil, you know. But I did feel he skewed evil.
Yeah. I don't this dude would be hard to find an enlightenment. He's definitely not. I don't know if he's chaotic evil. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Perhaps he is. But I
Flashback
think
scene before he got ill would probably give us an idea.
yeah, because right now think about it this way. Even if he was truly, truly evil, he's fucking old and decrepit and falling apart and can't walk like more than a few steps without. So, even if he was truly that evil, he needs to send henchmen to do his dirty work. So, yeah, he's like a handicap evil.
Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. He's that kind of evil.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So at the very end there, we see the best scene ever. Aurora, that doesn't speak any lines at all, murders Dieter single-handedly. What did you guys think about that?
She's some strength, like especially the cane, boof.
Wham! Yeah.
No messing about.
Yeah, I mean, she sees Grandpa about to, perish. He just musters that anger that she's probably been holding on from.
What I loved about it was the foreshadowing when she smashed the roaches towards the beginning of the movie, and Jesus makes a comment about that. I'm gonna get the phrasing wrong, but it was something to the effect of you can't treat creatures like that, like you have to give them mercy or something like that. I forget exactly the phrase that he has. I wish I had that in front of me, but basically there was some foreshadowing because she treats Dieter like a roach, which to me is also the director's way of implying, by using the foreshadowing of the roach, how the director views the character of Dieter as almost a roach himself, which ties into my theory about he's not the best, right? Because why use that foreshadowing with a cockroach and then bring it all the way back with the same character, Aurora, takes out Dieter the same way.
Yeah. So after Dieter is like passed the fuck out, dead, they never truly tell us. A final desperate confrontation happens on the rooftop with Jesus.
Oh, but before that, we do get that because don't forget he's still alive. Angle finishes him off.
Yeah, you're right.
Because in that moment, Angle realizes that he's never going to take the throne. He realizes that what his uncle was doing.
Yeah.
So he's I'm waiting no longer, and
he's tired of waiting for that will. And I honestly feel like Angel is worse than Dieter.
Oh, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
He's like more of the bad guy just because he's willing to like kill somebody to get a will. Like, yikes! Like,
even though he's not
wait
living a
for
bad
him
life,
to die.
Yep.
He's not willing to wait one more second for him to die. He's gonna do it himself and speed up the process there. So then after that, then we see them, at the rooftop, duking it out, whatever. They fall through the roof.
Did anyone else get Highlander vibes from that?
Yeah, I could see that.
Like,
yeah,
Conor McBride versus the Kurgan at the end. Yeah,
a little bit.
They just needed swords.
Yeah. Yeah. So Aurora has seen Grandpa using the Cronos device before. So when Grandpa has fallen off the roof, in a desperate attempt to try to bring him back, she knows that device is probably going to bring him back. Very observant child. So she places the Cronos device on Grandpa to try to bring him back. So did you guys think that way of that scene too? Like, wow, what an observant child.
Mm-hmm. I was waiting for her to deliver at least one line of dialogue. That's what I was kind of waiting for through the movie. I thought that would be the point where she would say something.
She did say one word. Do you know what one word she said?
No, I must. I must have missed it because as I said, I was waiting. That's why I was asking about did she deliver one line because I was
One
waiting for
line.
it.
I did miss it too.
Yeah.
So Jesus wanted to drink Aurora's blood. You know, he was like
Oh yeah, because
blood
she's all cut.
crazy. She was all cut up and stuff. So she said, "Grandpa," and you totally see that just like change of like, oh my god, what am I doing to my grandchild? And then that's when he took the Cronos and like smashed it with the stone because hearing her say grandpa
Yeah.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
made the kind of the switch flip, and that's why he finally wrecked the stone because you know a mute child finally got to say one word grandpa and that was it. So I think that was pretty powerful to see the character kind of snap back into his humanity a little bit.
Yeah, because like I said, it's a couple of days since I watched this, and I'm like, hold on, was there? I was waiting for that one line, and I just spaced it. So
Yeah, she said grandpa. That's the
yep, that
only
was it.
thing
Yep, yeah, I
she
remember now.
said.
Yeah, I remember. Yep, it's very low.
So
It wasn't even shouting or anything. It was very undertone.
it wasn't like grandpa.
No, it was
It was
just like,
very like
yep,
grandpa, like
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it was very,
will, you
very,
know,
yep.
very faint, of course, because if she is a mute character, she's not gonna all of a sudden be a
Mm-hmm.
fucking soprano, you know. It's like it's very
Well,
good.
Hollywood would do that.
Hollywood would do that, yeah. Yeah. And they would be like, oh, it's like, right, isn't this person supposed to be mute? What the hell? So now that the device is broken, his existence is you can totally see that it's becoming very unbearable for Jesus. And he realizes he cannot continue anymore. So his resolution was just to allow the sunrise to hit him, choosing to finally die a human death with his granddaughter and wife by his side, rather than live a monster. What did you guys think of that ending?
That was a very Del Toro ending.
Yeah,
It's just interesting that the wife gets involved at this point.
yeah. I mean, if he did marry her, and remember in the scene where they're at the New Year's Eve party, they were like being very like romantic with each
Mm-hmm.
other.
Well, that's I said. It took me to that to warm up to her because
Mm.
apart from that, there wasn't that scene in the party. Like I would have written her off as a character completely. I wouldn't have seen. Okay, this is a marriage of convenience or obligation, but not love. If that makes sense. Or people have been together too long that they're just
Yeah.
um that sort of thing. So it was only during the New Year's party that I saw actual love between them because she's
Yeah.
a very cold,
Cold
um,
character, yeah.
yeah, not somebody you can warm up to.
Yeah. But if you truly did not like who you were married to, you wouldn't have had that emotional connection with them dancing and kissing
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So we do see that he does at least like her enough to do that. So I think showing her at the end kind of gave us like a indication that she was important to him.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, she was an important part.
Mm.
Not important enough to show his true self to once he became a real vampire, but
Yeah.
important enough.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the ending was just absolutely beautiful. And if you think about it, if you have little time left, you know, what better way than to just be with the people that you love and just, you know, of all the ways to go as a vampire, you know, you could do a million things. You could even tell the granddaughter, I don't want you to witness this. I want you to go in another room. But every second was precious to him. So
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to be with her up until that last moment when the sun comes up. And I just think there's something like really beautiful about that of like time on this planet is finite. You got to choose to spend it with the people that you care about, and especially in your final moments, like what a way just to just hold your loved
And
one
he
and
got
watch
to say
the sunrise.
goodbye this time because the first time he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah,
'Cause he died in the car alone,
Right.
and
yeah.
that,
It was just a
oh
beautiful
man,
choice.
yeah, that monologue that he had when the car was like crushed, and he was like, I'm in a lot of pain. This kind of sucks. Oh my god, that monologue was so sad. He's like, I'm dying and I'm alone, and I'm like, oh my god, stop it. That is too sad.
But then that's what I mean. That was the contrast then. So this time he does get to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yep. And I like the way it just faded to white rather than showing a special effects thing.
Right.
Yeah, it
I
just
like the way it
kind of
just faded to,
fades to white.
yep.
Yeah.
The
That
brightness of
was
the
good.
sun.
Yeah.
Right.
And at the end of the day, this is a kind of not super independent production, but they don't have Warner Brothers money, so they're gonna have to play with what they have. And if all they had was a cutout to a white scene, then make it work for you.
I think he did, because I actually think that scene in the car helped premise the end scene, so you didn't need to see him. You
Yeah.
didn't need to dissolve, because you got everything there was implied, the emotion, the connection, the contrast to the first death. You got to do it right this time. Yeah, that was the show that didn't tell.
That's true. That is very true. So if you both, I have a question for you both. As we kind of start wrapping things up, if you were to update Cronos for a modern audience, what would you change?
Angel and Dieter.
Yeah.
Make them more complex characters.
I think that's too. I think you guys also touched on it before. I think it would be better if it was an authentic cast, if they were all Spanish speaking of the same area. I think that it works better, and I would just keep the darker and emotional tone and eliminate the comedic relief. I don't think you need it. He has the clout where he doesn't have to pander to get movie audiences to, like you put a trailer and you throw some, a couple of jokes and you get more people. And like, no, just stick with the heart of the movie, the emotional part, and do away with the comedic relief. Yeah.
No, interesting. I agree with you, Colin. I would like to change the characters a little bit to be Spanish speaking and be more fleshed out a little bit. And yeah, and of course I agree with you, Chris, as well about the characters needing to be fully Spanish. One thing that I would do though, that I wish this film would have explored a little bit more, the whole wife scene, the whole everything with the wife, like I wish she would have been a little more involved. Yeah, sure, she bandaged him up, she danced with him a little, but that's it. We don't really get much
Or
of
remove her
her
completely to
story.
give a bit more room
Yeah,
for lore.
or remove her and talk more about the scarab and the artifact.
I disagree a little bit. I feel like if you don't at least have the wife there, then at the end of the movie where you're supposed to be experiencing a beautiful moment where he's in the sunlight with his granddaughter, at least for me personally, my thoughts would just be like, oh my gosh, the granddaughter has no one. She's alone. And it would just detract from the beauty of that moment. I know they didn't have a good relationship, the grandma and the granddaughter, but if the grandma is not there at all, the wife is not there at all, to me that would be distracting at the end. I would be like, oh my gosh, this little girl has no one. So I do like that she's there.
Orphanage time. Yeah.
Or make her a bit older.
Or maybe it could have been the sequel, because she has no grandmother. When grandpa dies, then she ends up in the orphanage with the kids in Devil's Backbone.
Oh, I like it. A little tie-in.
Travels back in time, the 1930s.
Yeah.
Through a portal. when they smash the Cronos device, it opens the portals. You get sucked through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she ends up in a fucking orphanage. Oh my god,
Yep.
that'd have been so hilarious. So yeah, guys, so I know I sent you guys a little point system. What out of 10 points total, what would you guys rate this film?
You think-
6.5.
6.5.
7. Yeah.
Where did you deduct some points?
The tone, you know what I mean, the tonal differences works against each other.
Mm.
And that's it. There's bits, the comedic beats just sort of, they're like more like road bumps than pressure release, because it's not dark enough to need comedic release.
Yeah. I thought the cinematography was good. What needed a little bit more was the story. So I deducted a point from that, and I deducted a point from the audio. Oh my god, the soundtrack was kind of dodgy. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't really like the soundtrack. So I deducted the points from the soundtrack. So I still gave it a solid 8 out of 10. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I would be in the middle somewhere with 7 or 7.5 out of 10. I think the story was great. I would definitely give that a 6 or 7, maybe 6 points there. And yeah, the audio, I think the music, it definitely didn't jump out to me. I couldn't. If you played the soundtrack separately a week later, I would have no idea that it was from this movie. It was definitely. And it makes sense, you know. They didn't have it's his first movie. He didn't have the budget. You know, you can't get Alan Silvestri or whoever, you know, the biggest composers are or whatever. Like, you just have to do it what you have to do. But I thought the music didn't add anything to it. Yeah, I would say 7 though, because to me I give extra points by the fact that it has longevity. Like, I've been thinking about it since I finished watching it. And not a lot of movies do that for me. So many times I see a movie, you know, especially the big budget ones, and like the next day I completely forgot about it. And yeah,
Don't
and
date very well.
Yeah, this definitely stays with me. I think this is a great take on a vampire story, because, like I said, it's not the typical romance love. It's the love of a grandfather and a granddaughter, and what he wanted to sacrifice to avoid her having to see more horror. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. And him making the final sacrifice to not put his granddaughter in jeopardy. It's like, well, if I...
All right, I'll give it an extra point, 7.5. Maybe a bit harsh.
Yay!
Yay!
He was so grumpy old man.
Colin, I give it a 2. And then he's like, Aw. Well, thank you both. It's been such a pleasure, and I cannot wait to review the next one in the series, which is Mimic 1997. So that'll be so much fun. So I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe. That way you get all the notifications of all the cool stuff that are happening in the channel. And then we'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Luna.
Bye.
Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And I want to thank you for listening.